Hey there, today I'm showing you how to paint jellyfish with gouache and with watercolors. Let's go! So I bought this new set of acrylic gouache from Jackson's Art Supplies. I'll make sure to include a link if I don't forget. And I wanted to test it a little bit before I film a real review for you guys, but I thought I'd add it into this video just so you know that I'm testing stuff and this is the product that I was using. Here's lots of info on the paints in a language that I don't understand. So here's a sketchbook that I got from Time to Create New. They have these new sketchbooks and I'm also testing this one. This was a free PR sample, so this one I didn't buy for myself, but they have watercolor paper now and I was really interested to try it, so I thought why not. But I'm not gonna do a real review on it yet because I honestly can't tell you if I love or hate it yet. I honestly can't tell you. I'm not like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing I've ever used. But I'm also not like, oh yeah, I hate it. I'm just not sure yet. So with our painting, I was just starting out with this first layer. You can make this layer super smooth or not so much. I tried to have an even layer, but it was just a little bit streaky because I didn't blend my paint the way that I should have done it. So while all that dries, let's use this time and talk a little bit about my Patreon launch next week because I will launch it again next week. And I hope that you're all excited and on board because I have so many cool things prepared and yeah, I'm just so excited. I just wanted to tell you that next week on August 4th is going to be the launch, so stay tuned for that. I will make an extra video about that so I don't waste your time too much here. So let's just go on with our tutorial now. So the next layer after that one has dried is an orange tone, and we're going to use different kinds of orange tones here. So this is kind of a mid-tone, even though it's kind of a light tone. Just make sure that you're able to mix a lighter shade of that later on. You can of course use any kinds of colors. It doesn't have to be orange. You could also do pink or whatever floats your boat. So I'm just doing the first layer here and it's a little bit streaky, but it's not too bad. I've honestly seen worse and it works really well because I was using acrylic gouache and that one doesn't re-wet the former layers, so that's actually really nice for a style like that. I will talk more about that in a video coming up. So here I'm doing the bottom thingies. I really don't know what all those parts of jellyfish are called. Bear with me. So for this I used a lighter shade than the one that I had previously used. And yeah, I was just really messing around because you want this to look organic. You don't want this to be too rigid because it's moving. And here I'm using a darker tone of the orange. I was just using our previous color, adding in just the tiniest amount of red. And then I came up with this color. And so I just built up different colors to add more dimension here. And here you can see that I kind of outlined everything a little bit, went in with those little lines and just built up all the colors and yeah, just used this tone. And I did a second layer on the bottom floppy parts and then I used an even darker orange tone and here I just added in again a little bit more red and then I outlined it again that some more lines didn't go up the whole way with the lines, so we just have a little bit more dimension now. And that was basically my strategy for this one. Here you can see that I'm doing it again with a little bit darker color. At this point I wasn't just adding red but just the tiniest amount of brown as well. So just make sure to mix a darker shade of whatever color you've been using And then I used the first orange tone to add more dimension to those parts and just did those lines. And now this is the most fun part. I'm adding these, and I really don't know anything about jellyfish. If you do, let me know in the comments down below what all those parts are called. I clearly should have researched that first, but now I'm adding those little lines, and I think that that was the most fun part because now it all comes together a little bit. It's not finished yet, but makes it look so much more interesting. And now I'm using a very light tone. It's almost white, and I'm just adding in those glossy parts to make it even more three-dimensional. And now I just added in a little bit in the background to make it look more interesting and not so empty. Those are just circles. I made sure that they're opaque enough, and that's it for our first painting, I guess. Don't think that I added in something else. Yeah, now we are removing the tape. I used artist tape this time, not washi tape. Now we are moving on to the watercolor section. Now I did basically the same thing, but with watercolors. I started off with this circle, and this is going to be a little bit of a weird one, so bear with me. I still don't know whether to love or hate it, but it's fun. So this one looks a bit weird, I think. It's a little bit of a different jellyfish, not like a classical jellyfish. You will see. So this is just the first layer, and you can already see the difference between gouache and watercolors. I mean, I didn't add a background, so that's a huge difference as well. But also you can see the way that the watercolor runs on the paper and moves with the water, the pigment spreads and everything. So this one is the favorite one, my favorite one of these, by the way. I really love this one. I might do a pattern with it or make it into stickers or something. I don't know, but I really like this one. So here I also did those wiggly parts. I didn't stick to so much of a chronological schedule like with the other ones, but I just basically did the same thing here as well, but those jellyfish just all look a little bit different. So yeah, I was just trying to make it a little bit more interesting. And to make everything fit together more, I thought that the pink was kind of harsh next to the orange. I also added in a little bit of this golden tone to make it look more, I don't know, to make it fit more with the other page. And I was using my White Nights palette for that one. I really love those paints. I have a review of those on my channel, so if I don't forget, I will link it somewhere. So here you can see that we're moving on with our weird little one. I was now adding more details, and those are just these dots, and it has this kind of transparent part at the top. And yeah, that's basically the way this one looks, and yeah, it's interesting. That's all I have to say about that one. And it also touches our other one a little bit. So here I'm doing the same thing that I did on the other ones on the right side, just with watercolors, just adding in more little dimension, and I'm doing those little lines here. I think that that's so pretty. I love the one on the bottom. And here I'm doing the same thing with this one. I didn't do so many layers on these because I didn't think that they needed them, because watercolors just have this nice texture and it makes it look more interesting. It's just a very different style compared to the one that I did on the right side. And yeah, you can see here that I did those tiny ones as well to kind of fill the page, make it look more interesting and not so empty. And yeah, those follow the same recipe. I think you probably know by now how to do that. And I also used a white gel pen to just add some little details. You could also use white paint or any kind of white pen. So just adding in some little details, make it look even more interesting. I think that that adds the last pretty pop to everything. Yeah, and we are almost done now. I'm just adding in those wiggly parts, and these are our finished paintings. I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know in the comments down below if you know anything about jellyfish, or if you don't, that's fine as well, tell me that. I really hope that you liked this video. If you did so, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel, and until next time, goodbye.